2005, mother of 2 incredible kids, international platform artist, one of 25 or 30 master artists for sexy hair in the world, one of 25 or 30 in the world successful master artists, incredible. Star of our Dare to Dream 2011, 2012, and headlined our top Stylist Series. I give you Miss Kelly Bileddo.
Structure motion is going to take you a step further, okay? So I want you to keep in mind, you could probably utilize your standing techniques here in school, but what your instructors are teaching you is absolutely correct, and that's what's going to help guarantee you a pass at State Board of Cosmetology, okay? Structure motion today, what I want you to realize, how it's going to benefit your body in the future, how you're going to be able to stand longer behind the chair because you just have a better energy core, I should say. It's about learning body mechanics, but also artistic and creative freedom. So going back to body mechanics, we actually utilize Tai Chi within our cutting. And honestly, this cutting system has helped me understand how to take care of my body better. So we have these energy points in our body. I know we've got them in our shoulders, I believe it's our feet and our hips. We are all run off our core. That's why when you hear like people in workout videos, get your core, you gotta tighten your core, it's how you make it work. Your core is what makes everything work. So when we have an open body positioning to where the energy can flow thoroughly through our body, that's when our core is going to be centered. So you can imagine you're going to have more energy throughout the day by standing a specific way around the head shape. I saw one person pregnant in here. Imagine being 9 months pregnant, trying to cut hair behind the chair for 10 hours. It's exhausting. But if you start body mechanics now and incorporating it into your cutting, you're going to be able to last throughout the day. But as far as structure motion, so the reason why we stand differently, we cut between the hand and the head shape. So when I'm cutting a section, rather than pulling the section out and cutting on top of my fingers, I'm actually cutting between the head shape and my hand. So what's great with structure motion is you're able to stand in the same section and pull everything to you because you get to watch what you're doing the whole time. You guys excited? You want to see something? Perfect. We're going to go ahead and get into some cutting. Hold on to the product. We'll talk about what we're going to do with that in just a second. But I want you guys to really be able to see all the different movements within this system of cutting. So in my first section, I'm doing a 45-degree angle cut, okay? I'm bringing everything laterally directed straight back as if she's on a motorcycle, hair's flying, so that I can have that short to long feel, okay? I'm cutting down, so I'm going to put my left foot forward, my fingers are up, and my shears are down. So when we are cutting through this haircut, we're able to cut the interior, the perimeter, and the texture all in one fluid motion. And we do that by incising our shears, okay? We're pumping our shears, and we're never closing our shears. This is creating notches, which is texture, into the haircut. If they have really thick, coarse hair, I might get buck wild and just create a lot of texture, get that bulk out. They don't need all that hair. Or if they have super fine hair, I might be a little bit less vigorous because I don't want to take too much bulk out, okay? So she's got fine hair. I'm not going to be as aggressive. I still want her to look full, but we're going to create our signature cut, which is the A-line bob. So you're going to be able to see cutting up, cutting down, diagonally, stationary, and mobily, all within this haircut. And then I'm going to take structure motion, the system, and do a really quick, easy 4-section haircut, longer layers. Something to make it look a little bit different instead of just doing the 180 all the time. Because God knows we want to step outside that box, right? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to have our client look down. I'm starting in this bottom section. Okay. And we're cutting down. Incising, never closing our shears. If we cut from point A to point B and close our shears, what do we create? You create that big, harsh line. And then, like I said earlier, you do a lot of point cutting and debulking to try and get all of that weight out, where we could get rid of all of those lines just by pumping our shears and never closing them. But do you notice how in each section, I'm standing in the same body position? Can I what?
Go a little slower because it's hard to see from back here. Like, so are you pulling from your section so you have your guide to see? Or no?
I started in the center and that was my guide. So I'm pulling everything laterally to the center and using the center piece as my guide.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect. Moving up. Okay, I'll have your head straight forward. So now that we're moving further up the head, we're right on the occipital. I really want to make sure that I don't take too big of sections. So if she has a really big melon, subdivided into more than 5 sections. She's pretty small, so I think we're going to be okay with 5. But I mean, there are some heads out there that just blow you away. They do. Or like uneven ears. You know, sometimes we look at like ears to make sure sideburns are even. Oh my gosh, I have a client that one ear is up here and one's down here. I kid you not. He's fantastic though, I love him. But he is very uneven. He's not symmetrical. Okay, so now that we're moving up in our sections, we just got done at a 45-degree angle. If I wanted to disconnect it, I don't have to start at the 45. I could do something different, but that takes this to a whole nother level, and I don't want to confuse you. So we're just going to be following her head shape, creating rounded graduation, moving up the profile. So we ended at a 45-degree angle. We're cutting up now, so my right foot's going to be forward, entering in with my shears at a 45 and cutting up. When the hair buckles, I just stop, make sure I still have my guide, recomb, and follow up, ending at about a 90. Same with the next section, pulling it straight back, starting at that 45, entering in and cutting up to about a 90. Can anybody tell me maybe why I'm twisting off my sections rather than using a bunch of clips?
So it's quicker.
It's faster, and once I comb through it, I know I cut it, and I don't have to go back again. It's like checking your work at the same time. Still moving, following the head shape. Perfect. Moving up. So a lot of trends that we're seeing, I know in the past, having that shorter, higher stack in the back was totally in. It's going to give you more volume, keep that length on the side. Trends change all the time. So that's what's great about this system is we can switch up our elevation or our angle to keep up with trends. So rather than following a head shape and continuing all the way up to 180, which would be a normal way that we would create this swing bob, I'm going to stop at like a 135 because trending right now is more volume in the width rather than on top, right? You're not seeing so much right here, but more voluminous curls, waves. It's actually like Hollywood glamorous hair. Like most people are doing lots of pin curl sets, believe it or not, to create their looks that you're going to see on runway. So what you're learning right now, like with level 1s, your pin curls and your finger waves, keep up on that because those are trends that are releasing right now. Everything repeats like every 10 years. So you're going to see an era come back, come back. I'm so glad the 80s didn't get too crazy, but we do have some big volumed width, not just so much height. So, anyways, moving on. Okay. So we're now in the back profile, finishing up her top crown. We're going to subdivide again into 5 to 7 equal subsections. So we left off at what elevation? 90. So I'm going to pick up at a 90, and I'm going to move to a 135. So I'm cutting up, so my right foot is still forward, fingers are down, shears are up, entering in and cutting to about a 135. Cool? I know my weave gets in the way, so I'll keep moving around. But I'm not pinning it back, it's too beautiful. Okay. Starting at that 45, oh I'm sorry, started at 90. Nobody corrected me.
Carlos said this is
Up to a 135. Picking up my reference point from underneath, letting it fall out. Moving on up. Perfect. So now we have some graduation in the back. Still have our length. Oh, there's one out here, but no, never mind. It's perfect. Lovely. Still have some length, just more movement within the middle section of her hair. And now we're going to connect the back to the front. Cool?
Okay.
Really easy, right? It's just standing differently, holding the hair differently. Did you guys see how through my movements I'm not bent over, you know, with my armpit up in someone's face, you know, or bending my wrists, aching my back? I don't know if you guys know this, but we have the hardest physical job on anybody. I mean, dental hygienists are right up there with us because they're bent over all day cleaning teeth, but we stand all day, we bend over all day. If you don't start taking care of your body now, how are you going to be able to still cut hair within 10 years? You know, there's things that occur. I don't know if any of you guys, like anybody's wrists hurt yet after blow drying all the time. Give it time. I have carpal tunnel. I have tendinitis. I have arthritis. I have it all. I think it's my carpentry job that's affecting it as well. But I will say that with better body mechanics, I don't hurt when I'm at work. I know it's not my job that's affecting me because I'm doing things correctly. If your body hurts when you're doing something, that means you're doing it wrong. And you gotta switch it up. Break old habits now so that in the future, you'll be able to last longer. Okay, so I'm gonna take her side, and we're gonna do some diagonal partings and separate the whole side into 3 subsections. What I'm going to do is take each subsection and laterally direct it to the graduation that's right behind the ear, her longest piece. If you grab a shorter piece, you're going to create a hole. So make sure you remember, right here in the occipital, right behind the ear, is your guide. So you're going to pick up your first section. Combing it straight back. But just barely elevation from the head shape, just to give it a little bit of lift. Finding your longest piece and connecting from short to long. And then combing everything straight back and connecting from short to long. And that's never going to reach, so we're okay there. Perfect. So now we'll go to our other side. Since this is our finer side, I'll just subdivide it into 2. Taking our first subsection, we'll comb it straight back. Finding the graduation where?
Right behind the ear.
Right behind the ear. This time we're connecting from short to long, but in order for me to get to it, I just had to flip my hand over and cut down. Cool? Next section. There's nothing to cut. We're all good. Okay, so moving on. Your curls are just throwing me for a loop right now. That is such a different wave pattern. She's got like 4 different wave patterns on her head. There's like ringlets, and then waves, and then just flat. It's amazing. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go through the parietal, do a horizontal parting. Keep the front and this back separated. We're going to take this parietal and subdivide it into 3 diagonals again. Starting at the top apex, we've got 1, just twist it, 2, and 3. And then we'll go to the other side and we're going to do the same thing. Parting around the parietal. Diagonal 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're going to start in our front profile. We're going to comb it up and over the head shape. This time we're going to use our reference in the top crown of the head. Okay? That way we can make the length in the back continuous with the length in the front. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna comb it up and over. We ended at what, a 135 in the back? So I'm gonna keep that same elevation in the front, finding this top reference and connecting an imaginary diagonal line from short to long. And doing the same, bringing the next subsection up and over the head shape. Using the top centerpiece as your guide, connecting from short to long, creating an imaginary diagonal line.
What is that doing in the layer?
You're connecting and putting layers through the top profile. So you're going to have that movement now, falling over and going with her head shape. The fact that I'm wrapping the hair around her head means I'm conforming her layers to fit her face. So when she goes to style, it's going to lay perfectly for her. It won't be a lot of work. It's minimal effort when it comes to styling. Cool.
So the way you cut like under your hand and everything, isn't that making it a little bit shorter than like what you used to your cut?
No, because I'm connecting from my guide all the way out. You mean by cutting on this side of my fingers?
Yeah.
And moving out? No. If I had used this as my guide, combing it up and over, and I used the opposite side, do I have any control over this hair?
No.
Over here, I have tension and control, right?
Okay.
So over here, I don't. So this would actually be probably a couple millimeters longer than the back profile.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. I love control. I'm sure you guys all do too. So now we're going to take our front profile, we're going to comb it up and over the head shape. This time I'm bringing it to me. If you try standing on the opposite side of the head, you're just going to feel really uncomfortable because your arms are just not going to move that way. That's why when we're going up and over the head shape, usually just stay in the same position. And connecting from short to long. Subsection 2. Combing up and over. Grabbing our top reference point as our guide.
Would it matter, Kelly, if you're right-handed or left-handed, what side you would stand, would be your
If you're
front?
left-handed, you're going to be standing on the opposite side of the head.
And just staying there while you're doing both
Mhm.
sides?
Yep.
It's just a more comfortable, like doing around the ears, and that is just,
It's just
You're
you'll
right-handed.
feel if it's uncomfortable, you'll feel it,
Yeah.
and you'll want to know how to stand differently. Okay, so now we've got our longer layers through the sides as well. I'm going to go ahead and connect her fringe. Are you trying to do anything different with that, or are we growing this out?
No, it's not just so you can.
Okay.
That looks nice.
We'll just clean it up. How about that?
That sounds great.
And then we can go around our perimeter once we're done cutting our fringe and just clean up with some point cutting. There's nothing wrong with point cutting. I mean, how I'm standing, that's the system of structure and motion. What technique you're using, incising, point cutting, blunt cutting, those are all techniques. If I have a client with 10 hairs, I'm going to cut more blunt on them so that it looks thicker and fuller, right? Or if I have somebody with really super thick coarse hair that always puts shelves, like no matter how I cut it, I always see blunt lines, I'm just going to point cut from the beginning, but I'm going to stand differently and make sure I'm moving through the head shape so I still create something unique. It's about utilizing everything you learn and don't just stick to one way. That's what this is all about. So what we're going to do with her fringe, we'll go with her part. She's got a nice little colic. So I'm just going to take her fringe from the apex to her recession. Yes, this is her whole bang, is from the apex down to each recession. That's a bang, okay? When you cut a bang, you need to cut all of it. Maybe not as thick if they don't want it so heavy, but when you're creating a swoop bang, use the whole fringe. Don't just comb it down and cut down or razor down. That's my pet peeve, I hate that. The fringe is the fringe. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take her half triangle from her apex down to her recession. What I think we're gonna do is just go ahead and take a little bit more, and we're just gonna connect with the short to long. She's got a finer bang, so I just wanna make sure that it looks full. So by connecting I'm laterally directing it to the opposite way that it lays, and I'm just incising straight across so we can clean it up, make it uniform, and it'll swoop real nice over her face. When you're utilizing the forehead to create these fringes, you're also creating something that's going to help lay it very nicely across the forehead as well. Utilizing the head shape in any manner is only going to help with your work. Comb this straight down and connect. And then we'll do a little bit of texturizing once I clean your perimeter up. So any questions so far? I know your minds are churning.
So what if in the back you had like some shorter layers that didn't connect really to the front? How would you do your guide there?
Okay, so in the back, if I had some shorter layers that didn't connect,
Because you use the crown one to as your guide for that part, right? What if that didn't connect?
what if this didn't connect to here?
Yeah.
Like if this is too short,
Yeah.
then I would probably take my layers a little bit shorter
Okay.
and then connect it. I'm always going to be connecting from the back to the top.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a little tricky question for a second. I had to think about that one. What is she talking about? So I'm just going to go through her back perimeter because when I cut down, I just cut down all at the same angle. But as far as, you know, the perimeter, we can clean that up. I'm just going to go through and point cut just a little bit. Because I know she's got naturally curly hair, so we don't want it to be too blunt. Okay. Fine. Oh, you're just so pretty. Okay, so let's talk about some texturizing techniques. She's got naturally curly hair, all right? So I want to make sure that all of her curl is going to lay very pretty and cascade along her hair, along her head shape, excuse me. She's really bulky right here where her parting is, right? She's a lot heavier and it's super fine over here. So what I want to do is kind of put some directional texture in through her side profile so that it's going to lay smooth just like the other side. Otherwise she's going to look left, or her right, our left heavy. Does that make sense? Okay. So what we're going to do is go through, I'm just going to take some vertical partings, finding her heavy spot. I'm going to take my shears and I'm just weaving through like it's a foiling comb, and I'm cutting up and out. So I'm creating layers.
It's just crazy. She's so good at it, yeah.
I'm creating layers from underneath to build her support system. So with her naturally curly hair, she now has a support system to bump up that curl at the root, right? Now we're giving root pump a chance to really work.
I know.
Please practice on a mannequin. It's always good. It's always good. So I'm just finding her heavy spots, weaving through. Now if she had thicker, coarser hair, probably wouldn't weave because it wouldn't do so much. I would probably take some of these vertical sections and just grip it with my fingers and go in each section and cut up and out.
And you're just gliding it up, aren't you?
I'm just incising up and out, pumping my shears, never closing my shears.
That would be bad.
Stay away from the top crown though, because you don't want to have little pokers come through, okay? Make sure she's good. Okay, and if we need to do some more texturizing, we'll do it when she's dry. Okay, your blow dryers and your flat irons are the most important tools, and your brushes. Because if you don't have the right tools, you're just going to consistently, you know, it's going to be harder for you to do hair. When you have a good blow dryer that can smooth it out, I mean, you'll save time. I'm not going to have to go back through and flat iron her when I'm done. She's going to be rounded out and be a bombshell. But moving in with the 5-pass blow dry, it really just helps you with a roadmap to styling and helps you get the hair blow dried without picking up too many sections or picking up too much hair and having to pick up your flat iron when you're done. It's taking your time, it really is. That's why it's nice to have a system of cutting that speeds up your cutting and gives you more time for styling. Because really her finished look is what makes it all count. How does she feel when she walks out? That's why I started in the front of her hair and got her face, all around her face blow dried, so that when she's looking in the mirror, she's not freaking out on me. wondering, oh my God, we just cut my hair off. What is this gonna look like? You know? So what was nice about styling her is that everything is laying just perfectly across her head. You need to finish up her look in the front. And then we'll put some styling aids in there. I think the best thing that we can learn when it comes to blow drying is that your blow dryer, your brushes, they're like little curling irons. That's all it is. You're heating them up and you're churning the brush to get the hair to go in the direction you want it to go. Like her hair wants to really flip forward. So yeah, I'm going to round her forward, but then when I release it, I'm going to twist it and pull it to the back to kind of bend her cuticle and then bring it back forward so that it'll lay towards the front. Sometimes our hairs, the texture of it doesn't blend. So on her hair, her top crown is super heavy. She's got a heavy fringe, but her sides right here, they're just very fine. And they kind of want to just stay flat. So I'm going to go through her sides and just lift and add some volume and texture to make her texture conducive all over. I'm going to spray through here as well. I'm also, with her having a heavier top, her hair wants to split a lot. So I'm going to base it at her scalp too, just so that I can back comb and have some traction to back comb into. So I'm going to have her stand up and walk around too. Hold on. Keep sitting for a moment. But you're going to see, it was easy for me to blow dry just because it lays perfectly with her head shape. Even hand wrapping it around her head, it started to design itself. That's what we need to do with our haircuts, is make sure that what we're creating is going to be easy for our customers to kind of take it home too. But not only that, it gives you more time to talk product, talk about what you used, and also get them pre-booked for their next appointment, you know, making sure that they're happy and that they're coming back. You have the most different hair that I've seen in a long time. I have a client just like you, and we did kind of a similar haircut and she loved it. So